Hey, welcome. Today, we're going to talk about a path to spiritual practice that's, well, surprisingly simple. It's free, and it's actually designed for the beautiful chaos of our everyday lives. For a lot of us, the whole idea of a practice can feel kind of daunting, right? It might conjure up these images of, I don't know, silent retreats or super complicated rituals that just don't seem to fit into a modern schedule. So, really, does it often feel completely out of reach for you? If you feel that way, you are definitely not alone. There are some really common and totally understandable hurdles that stop people before they even get started. So let's actually dig into what those usually are. Yeah, this list probably looks pretty familiar. We get this idea in our heads that a real practice has to cost a lot of money, or take up huge chunks of our day. We think it's too complicated, or that we need to find some special teacher, maybe even travel halfway across the world. These are the myths that make it feel like a luxury instead of a real possibility. Okay, but what if those barriers were just, well, illusions? What if there was a powerful, profound path that completely bypassed every single one of those things? Well, that is exactly what our source material is all about. The answer is right where you are. Seriously, this whole approach requires zero money, no special gear, and absolutely no travel. It's built on this beautiful idea that the most profound practice can happen in the quiet moments of your own life, right in your own home. And this quote just brilliantly sums it up. It's straight from our source, and it just cuts right through all the noise. Think of it as a permission slip to let go of all the complications we tend to build up around this stuff. The message couldn't be clearer. Just start where you are with what you've got. So if it's that simple, what does it actually look like? What do you do? Well, the entire method is built on just two foundational pillars. That's it, just two. The entire framework rests on only two core practices. So, the first practice is maybe the most fundamental tool for awareness we have. It's simply about taking a moment to sit quietly and just pay attention to your own breath. That's it. No chanting, no complex visualizations, just the simple rhythmic reality of your breath going in and your breath going out. Now, the second practice takes that awareness and brings it into your daily actions. It's a commitment to 5 ethical guidelines, things like refraining from harm and speaking truthfully. And here's the key, it doesn't have to be this all or nothing deal. The source suggests you can start part-time, maybe just on the weekends. It makes it a really manageable way to begin. All right, now for the biggest hurdle of all for most of us, time. How can any of this possibly fit into a schedule that's already packed with work and family and a million other things? Well, this approach was quite literally designed for that exact reality. This is such a powerful way to reframe things. We think we need an hour, right? But the original teaching suggests a commitment that's as brief as a finger snap. It's not about how long you do it, it's about the consistency. It's about sprinkling these tiny moments of awareness throughout your day. And I just love this analogy from the source material. Think about a smart shopkeeper. They don't do all their work in one single frantic burst. They manage their store with consistent check-ins, once in the morning, again around midday, and then before closing up. In the exact same way, you can tend to your own minds with these small, consistent moments of practice. So let's get really practical. What does this actually look like in a week? Here's a super clear, totally doable plan. Just 3 to 5 minutes of mindfulness a few times a day, and then maybe a focus on the precepts over the weekend. Suddenly, it doesn't seem so impossible, does it? Because it's designed for a real life. And that really brings us to the core philosophy behind this entire approach. This isn't about checking out from the world, it's about learning how to be more present and skillful right in the middle of it. This is so important to hear. The source really emphasizes that this practice is not supposed to interfere with your job or your responsibilities. In fact, the clarity and the calm it helps you find are actually meant to help you do all those things better. It's a tool for life, not an escape from it. So we'll leave you with this final thought. We're always searching for these complex solutions, right? For distant answers, for expensive retreats. But what if the deepest sense of peace and clarity we're all looking for isn't out there somewhere, but is right here, waiting for us in the simplest, most overlooked act of all, our very next breath?